Walkman type players were a very big hit in the world during the 80s and 90s, and of course they existed in the Soviet Union. But their history is a lot different here. The first portable stereos came to the stores in 1982 and did not find much success. Today we will look at one of the last ones that were designed in the Soviet Union. The machine went into production in the beginning of 1992 and our subject is actually one of the first ones. Frequency response range is not thinner than from 80 Hz to 10,000 Hz, and wow and flutter is not higher than 0.5%. But in reality, this number was around 0.2 or 0.3%, and such parameters were just the bare minimums dictated by the standards for the consumer electronics of the 4th class. The box would include the player, a carrying attachment for the belt and for the external batteries attachment, which took 2 C cells, stereo headphones, wires to connect the unit to other sound devices, a wire to attach the unit to wired radio, a demonstration tape, and the instruction booklet, which also held a board view for the unit.
Vega M420S. It proudly announces here that it has reverse, and indeed it's auto reverse. Also on top we can see record button, so this is actually a fully featured deck in a sense. Stop button, which is not used to open the door. Rewind button, play button, and little knob on top is used to switch between directions. The next one is fast forward and the pause button. It's used both in recording and playback to just stop the tape from moving. On the bottom we can see DC power in. Here on top we can see microphone and line in, and of course the headphones out and volume wheel. On the bottom we see the name of the unit, battery compartment, and the little hole here is for adjusting the speed of the motor. In the battery compartment now I'm using actually rechargeable batteries, and what's very nice about this player, it works absolutely fine with them, despite they usually have a bit lower voltage of 1.2 volts. And to take them out, you simply pull this little piece of rag. And the most common problems with these things are capacitors, belts, and pinch rollers, and this was even worse than that. As you can see, the body has cracks, and this plastic here was 3D printed, and basically it had a very rough life. But I managed to fix it. But the very last problem is pinch rollers, which arrived today, and we will replace them and also have a look inside. And the size of the pinch rollers is very common for this kind of machine. To disassemble it, we just have to remove a few screws, and we carefully raise the shell to reveal the inside. So on the inside we can see original soldering in most of the place, but of course it has some of my repairs which are not pretty, and I'm totally not proud of them. And this here, you might ask, why the hell does it look like this? Well, this unit clearly fell to the ground, and while most of the places just needed resoldering, one of the resistors cracked inside in a very weird way. When I would heat it up, it would get its normal resistance, but after a few days it would go to infinity. So I had to replace them with two other Soviet resistors, each of them of 150 kilo ohms. The original one was 300. I didn't really have spares. Also, another repairment I had to do was to replace the motor with a Japanese one. The original motor from here was so corroded I couldn't even disassemble it. The board here is held with few screws, and now we can carefully open the unit. Inside we can see two flywheels, so this has anti-rolling since they spin in opposite directions when the motor is working. Most of the amplification is done inside of these. This little part of the board here is just speed regulation. This trimmer here is for the speed adjustment, and this is for the balance.
And also the unit uses a Japanese 4-track tape head.
Also, if you get one of these things, remember to always replace the capacitors, and of course they have to be the same size as originals since everything is packed very tight inside. Also be very careful with this place since wires here are very prone to removing themselves, just like here on the motor. But since we are here for a different reason, we need to remove the mechanism from the body. First of all, you have to carefully remove the door, and you can unscrew the screws inside. You have to remove all of them. And finally we have freed the mechanism, with wires falling off, of course. And now if we compare them side by side, they are pretty much same size, but the original one is a lot softer, very squishy, and clearly is trying to become oil again. And what I really wanted to show here is a little inspiration from detonation mechanisms this unit has. If the protection notch is gone, it will stay like this, and the record button will not move. But if you move this lever with the protection notch being intact, you can press the record. And the tape mechanism itself weighs 165 grams. Since this machine is a dictation machine, or at least has parts of one, you can do some things that dictation machines can. For example, you can rewind while it's playing, and same for fast forward, and of course you will hear whatever is on the tape. Of course, the record quality of this unit is not that great, especially from the built-in microphone, but at least it does not use a permanent erase magnet.
Алисе ДДТ и кино на живого Вега посмотреть давно я хочу, я знаю, он будет там. О боже, как повезло всем нам. Но порядок есть порядок, куда сидеть, молчать, не плясать, не петь, я не знаю, что будет.